to the Lumi Knits podcast. My name's Hayley. You can find me on Instagram at lumi.knits or on Ravelry at lumiknitsau. I haven't been super good at keeping up with either of those platforms lately, but you never know what might happen in the future. So if you're interested, you can find me over there. This is just my little knitting podcast where I talk about the things that I've been working on. I'm coming to you from Wadawurrung land in beautiful Ballarat, Victoria, Australia. And I extend my gratitude to the Wadawurrung people for their ongoing custodianship of the land, skies and waterways on which I'm so lucky to live. I'm going to jump straight in because I think this will probably just be a quick little podcast. I've got some stuff to say and some finished objects and things, but not a huge amount. Life's been pretty busy. I haven't had a lot of knitting time lately, and I've had a few very important projects that have needed finishing. So I will jump in and talk about that. My first finished object I can't show you because they're in the laundry basket. It was just a very basic pair of self-striping DK weight socks. We went away for a bit of a road trip over the spring holidays, so the weather was wet and wild and we were camping in swags, and I wore them as often as I could keep them clean. They were so warm and cozy on my feet, so soft, so comfortable, and just a real joy. So the yarn was a half-baked hand-dyed self-striping DK in a colorway called Burl, and I used a contrast heel, cuff and toe in a Coop knit Soxier DK in a colorway called Pigeon, which I've had in my stash for ages. So I was super happy to be able to use that up and make these really cozy, warm socks that were great for wearing under boots while we're away. So that's my first finished object. Perhaps if you're interested, drop me a message in the comments and I can show them next time. I'll make sure they're clean. My next finished object, wow, I think I'm gonna break my record of getting through everything today. So I'm just gonna lean down and grab these. My next finished object is another pair of socks. These are just a vanilla sock with a heel toe and gusset. That's not right. A heel flap and gusset. I tend to alternate between heel flap and gussets and fish lips kiss heels, and I'll talk more about other heel types later on. This is in a colorway called Spring from Yarns by the Bay. It's coming out a little pinker on screen than it actually is in real life. It's a bit more purpley, a bit more muted, and yeah, beautiful. I've used a lot of these yarns from Yarns by the Bay before. I think this is my second project, and I've got a work in progress using some of these yarns, and they're just gorgeous. The colorways are really pretty. The yarn's soft, nice to work with. So yeah, just a basic pair of fingering weight vanilla socks for me. That was an easy one. The next one is my Crawford shawl by Knox Mountain Knit Co. This is the second time I've knit this pattern, and it's an absolute joy. I really enjoy this pattern, and I absolutely love the finished product. So this is it. It's a very pretty easy mosaic slip stitch shawl. So it's a very easy garter stripe that increases, and we're going to run all the way across with just increases on one side. There's no I-cords or anything fancy like that. It's just a basic stripe until we get to this section in the middle. It's a nice shallow triangle. I don't like really deep triangle shawls, so I often sort of style this by having this at the front, then I bring the edges around and sort of tuck them back under at the front to come down. And yeah, it's just a really nice, soft, cozy, pretty shawl. It's very different to my first one. The first one I did in a very rustic Patagonia, Juniper Moon Patagonia organic merino. So it's a bit thicker and a lot more rustic, whereas this is a FibreSmith 4-ply merino, and it's really just a very beautiful yarn to work with, and I really love these colours. So yeah, this is my Crawford shawl, which I'm super happy with. The weather's been warming up here, so I've only been able to wear it once or twice, I think, so far, but it's just so pretty, and I know I'll get a lot of wear out of it next winter. So that's that one. I will link all the details of my knits down in the description box if you're interested in the pattern or the yarn. In case you miss it, I do tend to talk quickly and sometimes I forget details, but it will be all down there for you if it's something you want to follow up. So I finished those 3 projects within, I think, 3 days of each other. And I was doing that for a very specific purpose. And that was because I wanted to start the West Knits Mystery Knit Along this year and just have a bit of a clear slate. Obviously, I've still got some sort of sleeping whips that I just push to the side and I'll get back to them. But I really wanted to have a lot of those sort of, just those small whips that I knew I could get finished. I wanted to get them done before the first clue came out. So I finished those in the week leading up to the MCAL. I will not talk about the MCAL just yet because I've got a lot to say about that, but I will show you a work in progress, which I'm hoping to finish this afternoon. I must get it finished by tomorrow because tomorrow is my husband's birthday and this is a gift for him. So I've knit him up these socks. These are the harvest socks from the DK Sweater Weather Socks Toe Up collection by Carly Perrins. It's a set of 3 patterns and they're all sort of, they're DK weight socks and they've got some little cables and stuff and they're really pretty. It's a bit hard to see the cables because of the variegated yarn, but it's just a really simple twisted little, it's not even a cable, it's sort of like twisted stitches, I think, or cross stitches. Can't remember what they're called. And I've knit this up in the Knitting Man recommends Fat Tootsie DK. It's an 80-20 merino nylon and I picked this up at the Bendigo Sheep and Wool show specifically for this purpose. I love the colour. It's called What the Octopus Saw and it's such a sort of, underwater beautiful colourway. And so I think that the cables in this really look like seaweed. So I really like that. And I've done just a contrasting toe, heel and cuff in Cecia Dahu, which is 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% acrylic. And it's one of those ones where they don't actually name the colorway, they just give it a number. So I'm not going to tell you what that number is because I don't remember it and it's not important. So this is the first sock. The second sock, I have 8 rows to go in the cuff, in the ribbing, so I'll definitely finish that off today. I'm not working today, so I've got a little bit of time at home. That being said, my house is a tip and I really need to do a lot of cleaning, but birthdays are important, so I really want to get that sock done for my husband before tomorrow. Obviously they won't be blocked, but they will be finished because that's what I want to do. So yeah, that's the Sweater Weather Socks Toe Up collection, and this is the first time I've knit a toe up sock before, and in some ways I've really enjoyed it and in some ways I've really hated it. So what I've liked about doing a toe up sock is I really like the way the toe comes together at the beginning. It's very satisfying, which was unexpected. I didn't think I'd get that much enjoyment out of it. And I have really enjoyed being able to split that special skein in half and use every single bit of it in the sock rather than having a guess at how much it's going to use and either running out or having way too much left over. So I've loved that aspect of the toe up sock. What I have not loved is the heel. I feel like the heel is not as good as a heel flap and gusset in a top down sock, and I have not enjoyed the cuff. So I did, I think, a Jenny stretchy bind off on this, and I find the flare on it offensive. Is that too strong? I really don't like the flare. It's a bit hard to see on the blocker, but when I lie it flat, there's a definite flare in the bind off. So because my husband won't care, I'm going to try a different stretchy bind off and hopefully it doesn't flare as much, but I have very much not enjoyed that. So I guess the toe up sock is probably something that I will do when I'm using a special skein and I want to make sure that none of it's going to waste, but I still really enjoy doing the cuff down, probably more so than the toe up. So that's been an interesting little exercise in knitting for me. think that's all I've got to say about those. And now I'm going to talk about the mystery knit along. The first week I managed to keep up, which was a miracle, and I had extremely sore hands and forearms and elbows. And then it all fell by the wayside because I remembered that I needed to finish my husband's socks because I just conveniently forgotten about those. They're secret socks, so he doesn't know that I'm making them. So I can't sort of do them when he's around. So they sort of got pushed to the side, and I didn't have a lot of quiet moments to be able to work on them. But clue 1 of the mystery knit along, I won't say I really enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed the product. The different pieces that all came together were gorgeous. Oh, spoiler, if you don't want to know about the mystery knit along, stop watching. You can join back in later if you want, but I'm fairly far behind, so you're probably not going to get much information that you haven't already gotten. Anyway, back to the mystery knit along. I really enjoyed that first part. I did not like the section with the bubbles where you have to drop stitches down. I'm far too risk averse to get a kick out of that, but I did enjoy the finished product. I am now not even halfway through clue 2, and clue 3 is coming out on Thursday. Today is Monday. So, is clue 3 already out? No, clue 3 is already out. So clue 4 is coming out. So I'm so far behind, it's not funny. But that's okay because I never expected to be able to keep up. It's one of those things that, I have best intentions at the start, but my realistic mind says to me that there is no way I'm going to be able to knit that much in a month. Firstly, I don't have the attention span for it, and secondly, I don't have the time, but I just really enjoy the process. So I will show it now. So if you don't want to see it, turn off, come back later if you like. So I got a kit from Circus Tonic, which is an Australian dyer, and I chose their colorways Sundown and Golden Hour, because I really love like the sort of gold, like the sunset colors, I suppose. So, golds and pinks and mauves. I expected the colorway Sundown to be a little pinker than it is. It's very much a purple, but it's coming up beautifully, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to show where I'm at. So these are the sort of rainbow shapes, and then the triangles in between, the bubbles, and then the brioche section. I did choose the brioche section because I don't like eyelets. I'm too clumsy to deal with eyelets regularly. They'll get caught on things, and eyelets just don't work for me. So I chose to go with the brioche, and I'll continue with the brioche. And instead of doing a mohair dare, I did choose to do another color. I threw another color into the mix. This is Burgundy by Daffodil Road Yarns. It's just a sock yarn, and it's the same one that I'm using in my Alpine Bloom as my contrast color in my Alpine Bloom. So I'm going to do my brioche sections in that burgundy, and I'm going to continue doing the bubbles in the purple. So I think it's coming up really nicely. I am enjoying how it looks. I've obviously I've made mistakes in this. I'm having trouble at the ends. I've screwed up stitch counts and had to recover them. Don't know what's going on there. Don't want to know. I think I'm not going to be entering this in a show. I'm not going to be winning any competitions. No one's going to notice. I don't care, because this is very much a practice exercise for me, and a new, just an opportunity to practice technique and come out with something really individual at the end. So I'm just going to deal with those mistakes, which is a huge thing for me. I'm a real perfectionist at heart, and that's something that would have killed me in the past. So as a recovering perfectionist, it's a big step. So yay me. I'm feeling proud of myself. Yeah, I really like the way it's looking. I think that it's going to end up being a beautiful shawl. I haven't looked at clue 3 at all, and I'm not going to look at clue 4. Obviously, if I see them, I'm not going to be, devastated or anything like that. It is what it is, but I kind of like the surprise of opening up the clue for myself and seeing what's ahead. So yeah, I've been enjoying knitting on that. It's a lot of knitting. I'm up I think I've got about 400 stitches on the needles at the moment. Which reminds me, I was going to talk about that. I didn't have very long cables. I'm using ChiaoGoo twist. Yes, ChiaoGoo twist needles. I've got a set of those, and my cables were quite short, so I was kind of bunched up, and I thought I'll buy a longer cable. So I did, and I ordered the wrong size needle connector. So instead of getting a small, which will fit my tips, I got a large, which doesn't fit any of my tips. And so I thought, that's okay. The postage is pretty cheap. One day I'll probably get a large set, so I'm just keep that. And they didn't have any in the small size, any of the long cables in a small size, but they had the spin ones, which are the ones that rotate. And I thought, you know what, that's probably fine. It says they fit with the twist needle tips, which is what I've got. So I ordered that, and it came, and gee, it was fun when I got it. I was like spinning it around, and like I really liked the feel of the cable. It was fantastic. So I popped it on, knit all the way across onto the new cable, and was just absolutely loving the cable until I started to knit back. And there's a little gap between the cable and the connector, and every single stitch snagged on it. And it was an absolute horrible nightmare slog to get through that row, because every stitch was snagging, it was catching, it felt horrible, and there was 400 stitches to get through. So that was a bit of a bummer, and I ended up joining two of my two of the cables from my kit set together, so that I would actually just be able to not hate every moment of my knitting. So that's what I'm working with now. It's not as long as the spin cable, but it is infinitely better to knit on. I don't know if spins are supposed to have their own needle tips. It says they're all compatible, but maybe the spin needle tips don't snag as much. But I don't think that's going to work, because it's not actually the connection to the needle that's the problem. It's the connection from the cable to the needle connector. So anyway, bummer, because I really, really wanted to love those cables. The cable itself was beautiful. It was just that connection that made my life a misery for a good 40 minutes. But if that's the worst I'm dealing with in my life, I think I'm doing okay. So that is the mystery knit along. I'm just going to check my notes that are over there. Yes, I've talked about yes, I have. Now, while I was waiting for the mystery knit along to land, the first clue to land, I was looking for something to do. My husband was home, so I couldn't work on his sock. And I have had the pattern for the Emery vest and pullover by Joji Locatelli in my Ravelry library for ages, because I really want to use up the Bendigo Woolen Mills Rustic 12 ply that I made my Felix cardigan with a long time ago. And I've been looking for the right pattern. I haven't found one. And I thought, you know what, I'll do a gauge swatch, which is very grown up of me, and see if I get gauge. So I did a little swatcheroo, and it came up so pretty. I absolutely loved it. Didn't get gauge, of course, because why would I? Didn't get gauge, but I came across a really good website. I think I bookmarked it, and if I did, I will pop it in the notes below, about how to adjust a pattern to your gauge. And so I've decided to do that. I can't remember what size I'm going to knit. I'll probably give more details once I get started on it. I've written everything down in a notebook. Again, I'm trying to be a very conscientious and grown-up knitter, but I've written all the details down in the notebook, the maths, probably the website addressed, and I'm really actually quite excited to get started on this vest once I finish the mystery knit along and my husband's socks, and I've got the Alpine Bloom still sitting over there. But this is something I'm looking forward to doing. So yeah, I was quite chuffed with myself to do that, and I did. So that's the end of that story. I'm still thinking about what to do with my sweaters quantity of this beautiful Fathom yarn by Pirate Pearl. I was going to do a Shimo, but I feel like I just don't know if it's the best use of it. So I was having a look through some of the Sari Nordland patterns. I haven't knit a sari northern pattern before, but I know that she's got a great reputation for her patterns and they're beautiful. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a Sawyer pullover with that. But that's a long way down the track. That's something just bubbling away in the back of my mind. So I think that's everything for today. I should probably go and actually do some of the house jobs that need to get done and finish those socks and, you know, a million other things that people do on their days off. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I will see you next time. Bye.